Welcome back to another edition of Baseball for Maniacs. This episode wasn't planned, but I saw some of you Mets fans in the comments section, and I get it. You guys are going to troll. I'm a Phillies fan. I welcome it all. I love engaging with any fan base, even a fan base as terrible and uninformed as the New York Mets fan base is. But I did my video reaction to Freddie Peralta. And then people went flooding back to the Mets video I posted a couple days ago of how I pointed out that the Mets offseason has been a disaster. Of course, that video was under the notion that the Mets would not upgrade their starting pitching. They have upgraded that starting pitching when they got Freddie Peralta. So obviously my opinion is going to change, right? And I think Freddie Peralta is a great pitcher. I really do. But he is a 5-inning demon. He's not an ace. He's not going to go long into games. And what was the Mets' problem last year? Starting pitching, not going deep into the games, taxing their bullpen. We saw what happened. The Mets met. But yeah, that's not the topic of this video. I was scrolling through the comments, and I saw someone point out that I was wrong when I said Trea Turner was better than Francisco Lindor. And I simply said, just look at the stats. And this video is going to go through the 2025 season, and it's going to prove to you that Trea Turner is the better player. Now, overall lifetime career, it's Francisco Lindor, and it's not even close. I like Francisco Lindor. As much as I hate all the Mets players, I think Francisco Lindor is a great ball player. He's great for the game, great person. But if you just look at the stats from last year, it's Trea Turner, and it's relatively not close. So let's just go with the first stat, batting average. Now, I get it. You guys might be like, well, batting average doesn't really matter. And I can kind of get with you on that point. It does matter, but it's not as important as some of the other stats. But nevertheless, Trea Turner had a 304 average. Francisco Lindor had a 267. I'm no math genius, but that's for Trea Turner. OPS. Trea Turner 812, Francisco Lindor 811. I don't know. I mean, 812 seems like it's better than 811. You guys can say, well, it's close, but it's like, I don't care if it's close. Trea Turner has the edge. Awards. Trea Turner finished top 5 in National League MVP voting. Trea Turner finished top 5 in National MVP voting. So it's like, that's your video right there. I'm going to get into more stats, but if the baseball writers and the baseball voters say Trea Turner's better, and I get it, sometimes they make mistakes, but he was top 5. Where was Francisco Lindor? And there was no way Francisco Lindor could be in the MVP race when he quite literally was a reason for the Mets' collapse down the stretch. He didn't come up with big hits. The Mets never had a come from behind win in the 9th inning the entire season. Francisco Lindor is your leader. He's not your best player because that's Juan Soto, but he's the leader of the clubhouse. So that falls on him. And then let's get into fielding percentage, because I just said that Trea Turner's a better hitter than Francisco Lindor. And some of you guys might agree, but your rebuttal will be like, well, Lindor's miles better defensively. I was with you the last 2 years before 2025. 2023, 2024, Trea Turner was awful defensively. I was imploring Philly to either move him to second or move to the outfield. They didn't do that. And Trea Turner had one of the best defensive years we've ever seen from him. And he was one of the best defensive shortstops in the game of baseball. And Francisco Lindor simply wasn't. And Francisco Lindor, his mainstay is his defense. He's a really good hitter, but what brings his value is what he brings on the defensive side to shortstop, a premium position in Major League Baseball. So when he doesn't do that, I got to call a spade a spade. And again, I understand all time Francisco Lindor is the better player, but this video is for 2025 going into 2026. So what I like to do on this podcast is I like to look ahead. I don't like to reminisce about the past because the past is the past. And fielding percentage, a stat you simply can't argue. Trea Turner had a 984 fielding percentage. Francisco Lindor had a 972. And you might say, well, that's close. That's close. It doesn't matter. All these stats are relatively close, but Trea Turner is beating Francisco Lindor in every single stat I mentioned. I don't think the gap is that far away. I don't think Trea Turner is 10 times the better player Francisco Lindor is, but I think he is better, and that's the point. If he's slightly better, guess what, guys? He's still better. Next stat, defensive runs saved. Trea Turner +2. Francisco Lindor -1. Close again, right? But again, Trea Turner beats him in that. So, like, come on, guys. I think you guys already know the answer to this video, and I get it. Francisco Lindor's your guy. Big 2024. Cool. You guys went to the NLCS. You want your World Series ring, or is that still stuck in 1986? It's still stuck in 1986. And then errors. So I saved this stat for last because I think errors can be, it's a decent stat to judge, but it's kind of hard because if you don't get to a ball and the ball doesn't touch your glove, it's not recorded as an error. So it kind of hurts people that have really good range, because if they can get to a ball but you can't, and then you get the error, it kind of just doesn't make any sense. Similar to like the Nick Castellano thing, where Phillies fans were like, well, look at his errors. He only had 3 in his like last 3 years in Philly, or 4 years or whatever. And it's like, yeah, he only has like 3 or 4 errors because he simply doesn't get to the ball. So I don't really take errors that much for value or whatever, but it is a stat that we have to go over. And what do you know? Trea Turner had 8 errors. Francisco Lindor had 13. What are we talking about, guys? Trea Turner had 5 less errors than Francisco Lindor. Home runs. There you go, guys. Trea Turner had 15. Francisco Lindor had 31. That's the only stat that I'm mentioning in this video that Lindor beats Francisco Lindor in, or that Lindor beats Trea Turner in. But also get this. Trea Turner missed about, I think, the last 3 weeks of the year with a hamstring injury. Francisco Lindor played 160 games. Okay. So, yeah, Francisco Lindor is a better power hitter. We understand that. But also, Trea Turner made a swing adjustment, not a swing adjustment, a like mindset at the plate approach. He changed it. He was trying to drive the baseball, hit more line drives, kind of let go of that power, because we simply didn't need him to do that. So cool. Francisco Lindor is a better power hitter than Trea Turner. That doesn't make him a better player. And then stolen bases. Trea Turner had 36. Francisco Lindor had 31. And get this, guys. Trea Turner would have had much more if he didn't miss the last 3 weeks with a hamstring injury. And then when he came, well, he only came back for the last game of the year, but he would have probably hit 40, no doubt. And then also Francisco Lindor, he was a prime candidate for Anthony Richardson's first base coaching. You saw what he did with Juan Soto, how many stolen bases Juan Soto had. So does that really give Francisco Lindor any like real props for getting 31 stolen bases? Like Juan Soto got that. So Trea Turner beats him in that as well. Yeah, that's basically going to do it for the video. Like, it was a quick little player analysis. You guys want to talk about Francisco Lindor all you want. And here's the thing about me, guys. You guys probably don't know as Mets fans, but if Phillies fans tuning in, I am not a Trea Turner fan. Like, I think he's a good player. I don't think he was worth the contract. I don't think he's lived up to the contract, mainly because of what he's done in the postseason. I judge players on what they do in the postseason, because that's what you're paid for. That's why you came to Philadelphia. And then if you want to kind of get into the point of, well, Francisco Lindor had a great postseason, cool, dude. Like, I really don't care. Like, it is a player per player comparison. So if you guys got me out here defending Trea Turner, you guys done messed up, because he's not my guy. But I'm going to call a spade a spade. In 2025, Trea Turner had the better year, and then I think he's going to have a better year in 2026. We'll have to wait and see, but the stats are there right for you guys. So I expect you guys to flood my comments, kind of give me your rebuttal. The thing is, people lie. Numbers don't. So Trea Turner is the better player. You guys have a good one, and go Phils.